So once again, let's take a look at this exercise part 2 here, where I already filled in most of the work for you. So all we have to do is just make sure that you understand how we're getting these numbers. Again, here's the scenario for this example here, where we are looking at what happens in June, right? So all of these information are already plugged into the inventory worksheet. So all I need to do here is just be able to compute the scenario. So in this case, our assumption is we do not have any beginning inventory. If we did, I would have already plugged that number in there, okay? So on June 1st, we purchased 1,250 units at $1.08 each. So what is my total purchase price going to be here? $1,350, good. Plus 150 worth of freight gives me a total cost of $1,500, all right. And then we're going to solve for our cost per item because we're doing Lifo here. So in this case, my cost per item is going to be $1,500 divided by my $1,250, which gives me how much? $1.20, okay? Now, in this case, I'm going to just confirm that this is $1.20. So if I stretch out my decimal places, it shows me that it really is $1.20. So then on June 5th, I purchased 850 units. Okay, in this case, to 850 units at $1.10 each. So what's my total purchase price here? $935 plus $100 gives us $1035, okay, which then brings my brings my cost per item to be $1.22. Now, this is where if you calculated $1.22, if you extend it out, it's actually $1.21765. This is where I have to teach you what's called the equal round in Excel. All right, so if you're using Excel and you said $1.22, you automatically rounded it to the nearest penny. Okay, now in this case, you do have two options when it comes to rounding. Okay. In most places, they may tell you, I want you to round the cost per item to the nearest penny, all right? But in this case, right, if you do end up rounding too early, you could essentially hurt yourself in profits later on. So in this case, if I round my cost up too high, therefore, I'm losing out on a penny worth of profit for every item I sell. Okay, because I'm making my cost a little too high. Okay. And with that being said, right, if my cost is too high, then, right, my selling price, I either change it by a penny so then I can gain that extra profit, or, as most cases, right, not many customers are willing to pay at full price. They normally will pay if it's discounted. So in this case, you have a loss-loss situation, right? No one's going to buy your product at a high price, okay? Unless, like, maybe those few people will. People are willing to buy at a lower price. In this case, I'm costing it way too high. If I say it's $1.22, right? That means I'm going to lose a penny towards profit. And in this case, right, I have a total of 850 units. So if I were to raise it up by that one penny, I easily lost $8 in profit right there. So that's the case where you have the choice, right? Either you can choose to round up. Now, in this case, right, most corporations or most businesses, they get to the point where rounding can be tricky, especially when you have half a penny. So in this case, right, I'm going to show you guys how to compute the equal round, where I don't round the cost per item. I'm going to leave it at 1.2176 right? I'm going to leave that because that is, therefore, like in this case, I don't want to round up because I will lose a profit. And if I sell all 850 items, that's $8 I can lose out in profits. Okay. And as a person who is, doing business, right, you best bet not to luck yourself out with that, right? This is cost management. This is calculating each cost and every single penny, right? But in this case, I want to make sure that as a company, right, you want to make sure that you want to make the maximum profits, but make sure you minimize the cost, right? So in this case, I am not going to round up, okay, for this class. Now, for the future, if your employer tells you that no, I want you to round up for the cost of goods sold per item when you do your inventory. Okay, that's great. Well, we can do that too, right? But in this case, we're looking at a real world situation where we're selling thousands and thousands of items. I don't want to luck out, because if I can lose $8 here, the next one I can lose out on could be even, a bigger margin. All right. So that's what I'm talking about here, is where I'm going to be teaching you guys. I believe I think tomorrow's where we'll talk about that part, because I believe this one we don't get to do that. But if we do get to do it, I'll show you today. But if not, then we won't do it today. But in this case, I will show you how to use the equal round in Excel. So then you're multiplying the per unit, right, with an unrounded number. And at the end of the day, right, you can't charge your customers half a penny. You have to round up. Or in this case, right, if you want to try to cost yourself, right, you can't say that an item's going to cost you half a penny. Right? In reality, you have to always round up to the nearest penny. Okay, but in this case, when we're calculating our cost, no. I want to make sure I get every single penny, even if it's a tenth of a penny, a hundredth of a penny worth, because I don't want to luck out on profits. Okay? So that's just that right there. Okay, but in this class, I will teach you to use the equal round formula. So we're gonna be calculating unrounded numbers, and then I'm gonna teach you to round that number at the end versus rounding it now to get a solid number. Okay. Now, of course, like if you think about it, if this is $1.22, right, and you're calculating your cost per item as $1.22, at the end of the day, you're still gonna end up at zero anyways, because right, if you sell, let's say, I only sold half of this, right, and I charged it $1.22, right? At the end of the day, it's still going to pan out even, because whatever that you have available is available, right? You're not going to change it or adjust it at any time, right? If you're not going to say, oh, I sold all 850 units at $1.22. No, because in reality, that's going to definitely cost you more than $1,035. So in this case, right, at the end of the day, it's going to end up panning out as zero, but you're just losing out on profits early on if you do round early. Okay. So that was that there. So on June 8th, we purchased 700 units at $1.09. So therefore, what is my total purchase price? $763 plus $85 of freight. $848. $848, good. Now, what's my cost per item here?
1.21143.
Okay, same thing here. In this case, right, I'd be safe to round down here because it's only 21 cents, right? 21, 1. 1 doesn't round up, okay? So here we'll be fine at 121, but you are gonna never reach $848, okay? So we'll leave it at that, okay? So then on June 10, we purchased 1,600 units at $1.12. So what's my total purchase price here?
$17.92.
$17.92 plus $200 worth of freight.
$19.92.
$19.92, bringing my cost per item to be
1.245.
okay. So here we have a split penny right here, right? So you could either choose to round up or round down, right? Because that's the trick about having that rounded penny. Okay. All right. So then let's see on June 12th, okay, we purchased 600 units at $1.20. So what's my purchase price here? $720 plus $70 worth of freight. $790. So then what is going to be my cost per item here? Okay. In this case, I have $1.31666666666666. So that means I have 2/3 of a dollar. Okay. So in this case, we'll leave it at that. Right. And then last but not least, on June 14, we purchased a total of 1,200 units at $1.25. So what's my total purchase price here?
1,500.
1,500 plus 150.
It was 1,650.
1,650. So then what is going to be my cost per item?
1.375.
Good. So another half of a penny right here. So we took 1,650 divided by the 1,200, right? So you could go ahead and add up your totals if you'd like. So my total quantity that I purchased, so equals sum. So how many purchases did I make in June? Oops. Good. We purchased 6,200 items. Okay. So then, what is going to be my total purchase price?
7,060.
7,060. Good. Right. What is my total freight going to be?
755.
755. So then that brings my total cost to be
7,815.
7,815. All right, good. So that was my total purchases in June. Okay. So then, now that we have that, let's go ahead and go down to below. So in this case, right, I have to go to my scenario to find out what my total ending inventory is. So on June 15, we had a total of 500 units left on hand. Okay. So we can plug that number into my ending inventory that I have 500 units. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start filling in our table down below since we have the essentials to fill out our net purchases. So here we purchased a total of 6,200 units at a total purchase price of 7,060. Okay. We have no returns and allowances, so therefore we should have the same amount here. Okay. Once again, freight costs does not increase your inventory quantity, but it does increase the cost, which we incurred $755 worth of freight. So in grand total, we have 6,200 units, right? At a grand total of my $7,815. Okay. So then, once again, we're going to go ahead and plug those numbers in. We have no beginning balances, right? We're going to carry our net purchases down, which in this case, if we don't have any beginning inventory, therefore, my goods available is going to be exactly the same. Okay. All right, now in this case, if I started out with 6,200 units, and now I'm only down to 500, in grand total, how many items did I sell? 5,700 units. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do my running balance once again so that I can solve for how many items I need to sell. Okay. And I'm also going to equal sum my column for the total cost so I know how much I am costing. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look. So I have a total of 2, 4, 6 batches of inventory. All right. So let's go ahead. If we're doing Lifo, okay, which batch am I going to take out from first?
June 14th.
June 14, right? So we're going to get rid of that 1,200 units. In this case, we need to reach 5,700, right? Let me see, 5,000. Yeah, we need to reach 5,700 units. So in this case, my first batch of the 1,200 is going to be the first thing that goes. Okay. So in this case, right, we don't need to calculate this one because we know that this entire batch is going to cost me $1,650. Okay. So there's my first 1,200. So which batch of inventory are we going to take out away from next? June 12th for the 600 units, right? We're going to take it out once again, the whole entire thing, which is going to cost me a total of $790. Okay. So here we now have a grand total of 1,800. We need to keep going. So the next batch of inventory that I'm going to sell is going to be June 10, right? In this case, let's see, if we get rid of all 1,600, let's see how much total that's going to bring us. That's going to bring us 3,400. So we're going to be using the entire batch of the 1,600. So in this case, right? I don't need to calculate because I know how much the entire batch of the 1600 is. It's going to cost me $19.92. Okay? So now that we're at 34, right? We need to get to 5,700. So what's the next batch of inventory we're going to be diving into?
The 700.
We're going to take away from the 700 right here. Okay? Right? And in this case, we are going to be using all 700, which is going to cost me this much, but we don't need to calculate that because we're going to get rid of the entire batch, which is going to cost me a total of $848. Okay. So now we have a total of 4,100. We need to get to 5,700. So we need to sell 1,600 more, right? So let's take a look. We just sold 4 batches of inventory, so we're only down to our last 2. So in this case, which batch are we going to take out from next?
$850.
We're going to take that 850. Good. Okay. Since we're going to be taking out the whole entire 850, right? Once again, we know what that whole entire amount is. It's going to be for the 1,035. Okay? So therefore, okay, so let's see how much I have left. I am right now at $49.50. How much more do I need to sell to get to 5,700?
750.
You need 750. And as we see here, we only have 1 batch of inventory left. Okay, right. We got rid of June 5th, June 10, or June 8th, June 10, June 12th, and June 14th. So all of that's all gone. So we only have 1 batch of inventory. How much is it going to cost me per item?
$1.20.
It's going to cost me $1.20. So in this case, I'm not going to teach you the equal round today. That's going to be something we're going to learn next week. Okay? So $1.20. Right? Now in this case, I'm only taking a portion of the amount here. So I need to calculate how much it's going to cost me if I sell 750 items at $1.20 each. So in this case, what is my total here?
900.
900. Oops. $900. Good. So now, right, by me doing my equal sum column here, I add up my total cost to get me a grand total of $7,215. So then, what is going to be my total cost? I'm sorry, what is going to be my total ending inventory?
$600.
600, okay? Or if you figured out the other way, if you do 500 times the $1.20, you should get 600 as well. Okay. Awesome. So now we completed our inventory worksheet. So now let's go ahead and complete our last journal entry here, which is to do the conversion entry. So it is June 30th, all right? Oh, no, sorry, June 15, my bad, June 15. So in this case, right, what am I going to journalize? How do I do my conversion entry? inventory, right? Because I didn't specify what I purchased.
Cost of goods sold.
Cost of goods sold, good. What else?
Purchase expense.
Purchase expense and
Freight expense.
freight expense, good. So now that I have that right, so now the next thing I gotta do is I gotta plug in all my answers. So what was my total cost in my ending inventory?
The 600.
The 600. What was my total cost of goods sold?
7,215.
What was my total purchases or my purchase expense?
7,060.
And last but not least, what was my total freight?
755.
Good. So at the end of my, I need to make sure that my debits and credits equal. So I have a total of 7,815 on the left, and I have a total of 7,815 on the right. Okay. Excellent. Any questions in regards to how to calculate LIFO for inventory?
The first step that you're doing is to journalize the purchase, right? When you do the first step.
Yes, yes, because
One by one.
one by one, we have to recognize that we need to update our book saying that we have inventory.
Okay, so that's you write the first part, and then later you journalize, and then later you do the net purchase.
Correct, correct. At the very end, when you finish your conversion and when you finish your inventory worksheet, you are required to do a conversion entry because now you recognize that you have this many items left on hand. So therefore, you need to convert your purchase expense into inventory. Yes, so this happens at the end of the given period. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right. So,